Investigations, Chris?
Yeah, hi, Chris. This is Ken Pratt. You had left me a message.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Yeah, no worries.
Okay.
What can I help you with?
Well, I understand that you were the driver that would drive Prince, correct?
I used to, yes.
For total transportation? Or that you used to, or privately? I guess the reason why we got your number, just if you're curious, is obviously we're the investigators investigating his death, and we came across your name and phone number in some of his paperwork.
Right.
So.
Yeah, I worked for him primarily for, the last 3 years directly and pretty consistently, and then for 5 years. Well, the 2 years before that, it was hit and miss, but yeah, I did.
Okay. I was wondering if you would be willing to sit down and talk with us, or if there was anything that you might be able to help in this investigation as far as...
Sure.
Any insight that you might be able to give us or anything like that. And I don't know when would be a good time, or if even if you want to just talk right now over the phone, that's fine too, if this works for you. Or if you would like to meet. I had just noticed, that like the day of the plane landing in Moline, that you and Kirk had been talking based on phone records.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I was supposed to pick him up. I was sitting at the airport waiting for him to come in.
Okay. All right. So that's just some of the things that I just wanted to clarify. Is there anything that you could help us with understanding of things that you guys would do or places that you would go? Is there any frequent places that you guys would go or that you'd take him?
Oh, yeah. I was his preferred chauffeur for the last 3 years, and I got to be honest, he's a really great person, and I really super miss him.
Well, I'm sorry.
We were friends.
Okay, I'm very sorry.
And yeah, it's.
Okay.
The whole thing was. It's okay. The whole thing was just unexpected. I didn't know everything that was going on until, of course, all this came out in the papers. But I took him, his frequent places that he loved to go, and I was with him Tuesday night before he passed. And he went to the Dakota Jazz Club to see an artist who was playing there, and he was excited because she agreed to come and play at Paisley because he was going to do the summer concert series at Paisley Park, and have different acts come in, and that was kind of what he was going to work on, for the future. And so he loved to promote and work with new artists who were up and coming.
Okay.
And then after that, we went to... I'm sorry, this is really hard because I miss it so much.
I'm sorry.
After that, then we went to the Dakota Jazz, and I took him over to the Calhoun Beach Club because he met with some people there and just had I don't know what... I didn't sit in there in the conversation, but he had dinner and... I don't know if it was an appetizer or whatever with a couple of friends. And then from there, we all went out to the movies in Edina. He would frequently rent out a movie theater, and then we would all go in and watch the movie with him. It was like a family, really.
Okay.
And then I took him home, and that was Tuesday morning. He died, Thursday? So this was Tuesday morning. By 2 a.m., I believe, I dropped him off. And his assistant was with him, Marone Bacure.
Yeah.
And I dropped her back, I think, at the hotel. And then it was, I could tell he was really tired. And I had no idea.
Well, I'm very sorry. Part of our...
no, it's okay. I want to help.
Okay, good. Well, that's part of the reason why we were reaching out to you. Is just because, a lot of... he was a very private person from what I've been told. I
Absolutely.
never met him, and so people, like you said, the family that were closest to him... I guess, who would you say were the closest to him with just what you knew of the people that were surrounding him the most? You said Marone.
Well, Kirk.
And Kirk.
Yeah, Marone and Kirk. Marone worked for him,
yep.
But she was only working for him for maybe the last year. She hadn't been an ongoing person in his life. She just was in the last year, maybe a little over a year she worked for him. But Kirk for sure. I mean, in all the 5 years that I worked for him off and on, Kirk was a steady influence in his life. And the people that he had dinner with that night at Dakota Jazz were his drummer, Hannah, and her, Hannah and Josh,
Okay.
Josh worked with her, and Josh, anyways, Hannah and Josh, Hannah was pregnant. I mean, she wasn't going to try to get.
Yeah. Was he and Larry Graham still close that you knew of, or not?
You know, he and Larry were tight for a long time, but that seemed to kind of... I didn't notice over the last year that relationship didn't seem as strong to me as it had been.
Okay.
But I don't know everything that was obviously said or done, and I just know that they were at one time very close.
Okay.
When that was. Yeah, I mean, because I used to take him to church and, everything.
So what would you usually take him to, or what kind of things did you take him? You take him to church?
The church, the Dakota Jazz Club. Sometimes he'd go to First Avenue. Sometimes he'd go to, once in a great while, he'd go to, trying to think of that venue on Fifth and First Avenue. There was a venue there that used to have live music on occasion. But he was always either with people from his band or friends would come in. But the consistent people, that were around him, for those things were usually his band would travel with him when he'd go out places or if friends would come in town.
Did you have any other bodyguards or people that would work with Prince other than Kirk that you knew of?
Well, his bodyguard's name was Chris, actually. They called him Romeo.
Okay. That must be Chris Gaither? Does
yes.
that name sound familiar? Okay.
Right.
Anybody?
There was another guy that temped with him. Just in the last year, did a little bit of work off and on when Chris wasn't available. Sometimes it was Kirk or it was Julius.
His name is Julius. I don't know that name. Julius?
Yeah, his name is Julius. I have his number, but I don't know his last name. I just know him from the gym, and he did some security work he works for Paisley Park right now. Or he works for the family, I believe.
Okay. Maybe, if you have his number, maybe that'd be another contact of somebody else.
I'll have to look it up in my phone.
That's fine.
Okay.
So, in looking back at, so Tuesday, it would have been the 19th then, would have been the last time that you talked to Prince, and that was the last time that you chauffeured for him.
Yep, that was 2 a.m. on Tuesday, yep.
Okay. And so you would normally just would Kirk kind of text you or call you and what's the communication about, we're coming here, or we're going to go there, or what is it? Did you usually stay in the car, or did you go with him inside, or it depends?
Oh, it depends. All of the above.
Okay. Okay.
It was sometimes it was they'd ask me to come in, and sometimes it was, I sat out in the car and But typically what would happen is his assistant, whoever worked for him, would contact the company I was working for, which was Premier Transportation at the time. And from that standpoint, I would get the work, or they would call, and usually I would get a follow-up text from his assistants.
So did you used to work for Total Transportation then? Or is that the same thing?
I did.
Okay.
I did.
Okay.
I did. Yeah, I worked for Total for 8 years, and then back in 2014 of February, I switched to Premier Transportation, and that's when Prince brought his entire account over to the company I was working with, and I was told by his assistant at the time that I would be running the whole account, which I was.
That's very flattering. So.
Yeah, it was. It was.
Okay. So he moved the account over in 2014 when you went to Premier.
Right.
I would say the card I found had Total Transportation, so it must have been an old business card of yours.
Right, and that was my old business card.
Okay. Did you guys ever go any places that were not like music oriented or restaurants or?
Oh yeah, I mean his favorite place to eat was, okay, it's over there in Moline Park, Lurcott.
What?
The Lurcott, he would eat there. The Lurcott.
Mercat?
Lurcat, yes.
Lorcut?
Lurcat, it's French. Lurcott.
Okay. Anything else that you can think of things that you guys had done? I'm just trying to kind of get an understanding of...
Well, that was his favorite place to eat. The Dakota Jazz was his favorite place to go to hear live music. And he went to church at the Minnetonka. I take him there and to the airport. I mean, he was always traveling. He was always working. He had an incredible work ethic. I mean, he was just worked like a dog. He was just, like I said, if it wasn't working on his own music, it was somebody else's.
Yeah. So did you have any, you said you didn't have any knowledge of any drug use or anything like that by him at all?
No, that's why I was so shocked when all this came out. I just didn't. I mean, on occasion I'd see him have a drink or whatever, but big deal, don't we all?
Right,
I mean,
right.
But never anything excessive or... He was very, very meticulous about his diet and what he ate, and so, yeah, I mean, I didn't even know all... I mean, and even when he was coming back from Moline, I didn't realize... what had happened. I mean, I didn't find out until I think it came out in the press a week later what had happened in Moline.
So how did Kirk explain to you that night then when you were at the airport? What did he say happened?
Just that he was in the hospital and that he was dehydrated.
Okay.
And so, and honestly, I've seen that before because he works hard and then he would do these flyouts and he'd do 2 shows in a row or 2 nights back-to-back, 4 shows, and then he would, he was wiped out. And usually the band was wiped out just because it's hard work,
Yeah.
Putting a show together, he's working on the music and then the costumes, and it's a lot to arrange. It's a lot of responsibility.
So nothing... Kirk texted you that night. There was nothing that was... you were waiting for him, but there was nothing... I mean, that's just... You'd seen it before, him being... You just assumed that he was dehydrated.
Yeah, I didn't, just that he was... Actually, what I was told was that he was going to come back. They were going to leave as soon as they could. And, but he told me, because it was 5 a.m. in the morning, and he just wanted to know... I just said to Kirk, I said, well, do you want me to wait, or should I leave, or what should I do? And he just said, no, go ahead and go, and we'll contact the company when we're coming in the morning. And then or whenever they can get the next plane, because they had to wait for another plane because after so many hours, those guys get timed out.
Okay.
And a lot of times he would hang back at different shows, if he'd play a party or he'd do something. And so that wasn't unusual for him to be late, or to change his mind when he was going to come back.
Okay.
But I didn't realize it was to the extent. I mean, Prince told me when he got in the car that he had the flu and that he wasn't feeling well. And that was before they flew out. And, of course, he was with Judith Hill. And that's what he told us when he got in the car, was that he had the flu and he wasn't feeling well.
When you said tell us, was there somebody else in the car with you?
Judith and I.
Oh, just Judith. Okay.
When I dropped him, Judith and I, when I dropped him off at the airport. I don't remember if Marone went with them or not. No, I don't think she did. Not on that trip.
So was that when Judith flew out, or was that when he came in the next morning that he said that he had the flu?
That was when they were flying out to do the show in Atlanta.
Oh, he told you on the way to the airport that he had the flu and he wasn't feeling good.
Right, and so when I got the call, from Kirk stating that they weren't coming, that he wasn't feeling well, that he was dehydrated, whatever, I just assumed it was because of the flu. I didn't think anything.
Okay, I'm sorry, I misunderstood you. So that was before he even left, and so it all made sense then when Kirk got a hold of you and said,
right.
He's in the hospital, he's dehydrated, because he had told you before that he had the flu, so...
Right, and that's what he told me, that he wasn't feeling well. And you could tell he wasn't. I mean, I knew he was.
Okay.
But, he had all these gigs, and he was the show must go on.
Yeah. Did he ever, I guess, when he went to the doctor, did you take him or did Kirk take him?
I did not take him. I never did any of that.
Okay.
No.
All right. I'm trying to think of questions.
Yeah, go ahead.
Did he ever ask you to go get any packages for him or anything to pick up anything for him ever?
I think, sometimes things would be shipped to the country inn.
Okay.
And I picked up some vitamin shop stuff for him there, but other than that, and took it to Paisley, but that was a couple of years before. But usually, no, I didn't have to do any of that.
Okay. And the country inn was where Marone was staying?
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
78th Street, I think it is.
Yep. That's in Chan here.
Yeah.
So, that was, so a couple years ago you had to pick up some vitamins?
Yeah, and it was from and it was right on their vitamin shop, and closely, I picked up, people would fly in to see him, and that was mainly my job, is picking them up and taking them to see him.
Okay, so more
and vice versa, taking him places.
Okay.
Right. And regular, anybody flying in with friends or whatever. So that was my job.
Do you think, Kim, that he and Judith Hill were in a relationship, or were they friends, or what would be your take?
I think they were friends.
Okay.
I didn't see any evidence of anything else, let's put it that way.
Okay. Is there anything that I haven't asked you that you think would be important for us, knowing, that what we're trying to find out, obviously, is where he got the drugs from,
Right.
Any idea of where we would look or anybody we should talk to that you think would be important for us to know?
I really can't think of anybody other than the person that took care of, Kirk was pretty much ran the whole place. His personal assistant was the Marone. She would know more detail. Those two would know more detail on things. And then Phaedra, his
Yeah.
The person that was his estate plant manager, or whatever you want to call her, power of attorney, whatever, she had more privy to that kind of detail. But other than I just would pick people up, and he had so many people that were always coming in, and it was not always the same people. So, and he was a busy guy. I mean, he did not sit still, other than maybe on a Sunday. And even sometimes he'd do a impromptu show on a Sunday. You never really knew.
Okay.
Not sure nothing. Excuse me.
No worries. Okay, so his favorite place was that Lurkat?
Yeah, to eat dinner.
To eat dinner,
and then
go to jazz, and then he'd go to movies, church.
Yep.
And that's pretty much it. And
yeah.
If you get the number for Julius, could you call me back? And if or if I'm not here, you can certainly leave a message too. But did you ever know
Sure.
Sean that worked security there?
Yes, I met Sean. Yep.
Do you know anything about him?
No.
Okay.
A lot of these people I just knew on. I mean, he worked with. I mean, it was such a big empire, for lack of a better word. It was really hard to get to know people one-on-one.
Okay. All right. I just want to make sure I have your information. Is it Kimberly Sue Pratt?
Correct.
In 1117 of 67?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And is your address still the 1322 East Minnehaha Avenue East?
It is.
Okay. Well, you have my number, Kim. I really appreciate you talking to me. Again, it's Chris Wagner.
Of course.
If there is anything, like after we hang up and you're like, oh, this might be important, or anything that you could think of that would help us trying to figure out where this stuff came from or who we should talk to, please don't hesitate to give me a call.
Of course.
Okay. Do you have any questions for me?
Not at this time.
Okay.
Not at this time.
Yeah, if you think of anything, please let me know. And otherwise, if I have any other questions, is it fine if I give you a call again? Something
Of course.
Okay.
Yep, absolutely.
Thank you, and I'm very sorry for your loss.
You're welcome.
All right.
There's loss for all of us, really.
Yeah. Well, you knew him more personally than we did, for sure. So.
I did, absolutely.
Okay.
All right.
Well, thank you for your time.
You for fun.
All right, thank you. Bye-bye.